Hello, esteemed gentlemen. Never underestimate a man who's learned more from failure than others have from success. The street doesn't give lessons, it gives scars. And those scars teach faster than any classroom ever could. Studies even show that people who grow up adapting to unpredictable environments develop sharper risk assessment instincts and faster decision-making reflexes than the average person. That's not luck, that's evolution under pressure. Now, blend that raw survival intelligence with the cold independence of a Sigma male, and you don't just get a strategist, you get a ghost who can outthink predators in silence. While others are busy rehearsing how to look confident, he's already mastered the art of reading danger in body language, opportunity in chaos, and weakness in ego. He doesn't play by the book because he's rewritten it using street codes and human psychology. And the funniest part? The world still tries to measure him by the same rules he's already hacked. This is why the street-smart Sigma male has the ultimate advantage, not because he plays the game better, but because he understands the players too well to ever lose. Number 1. He treats rules as suggestions, not barriers. A street-smart Sigma male doesn't see rules as walls. He sees them as doors that only look locked. To him, rules are written by people who need control, not by those who understand how the world truly works. He's not a criminal. He's a strategist who knows that power belongs to those who understand systems deeply enough to bend them without breaking them. He doesn't rebel just for attention. He bends limits because he sees how most of them are illusions built to keep average minds in line. He's the kind of man who can walk into a situation full of can'ts and quietly find the hidden can. Bureaucracy doesn't intimidate him. Traditions don't hypnotize him, and authority doesn't impress him. He knows that behind every rule, there's usually a loophole, and behind every loophole, there's someone who created it on purpose. That's where he operates best, in the thin line between what's allowed and what's possible. This mindset gives him an almost unfair advantage. While others wait for permission, he's already halfway through execution. While they quote regulations, he's rewriting outcomes. He's not reckless, he's calculated. He studies how systems work so he can use them in ways the system never expected. That's why he succeeds quietly where louder, rule-following people keep getting stuck. He understands that progress rarely comes from obedience. If everyone followed every rule blindly, nothing new would ever be built. The street taught him that surviving sometimes means bending reality a little, not to cheat, but to create space where none existed. His edge comes from seeing that the line between right and wrong is often drawn by those afraid of losing control. So, while others build fences, he builds routes. While they wait for green lights, he moves when the road's clear. That's not defiance, that's awareness. And it's exactly why a street-smart Sigma male always ends up miles ahead, quietly rewriting the rule book that everyone else is still trying to memorize. Number 2. He builds empires from scarcity. A street-smart Sigma male doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He creates them. He's used to surviving with little, so he's learned how to turn scraps into strategy. While most people complain about what they don't have, he focuses on what he can do with what's already in front of him. That's his quiet superpower. Scarcity doesn't intimidate him, it activates him. It sharpens his instincts and fuels his creativity. He knows how to stretch resources, not just physically, but mentally. When there's no backup plan, he becomes the plan. He's the type who can take a setback and turn it into momentum because he doesn't rely on comfort to function. Comfort makes most people soft. Scarcity keeps him sharp. When life gives him less, he doesn't shrink. He adapts and multiplies the little he has until it becomes something valuable. That's why he often ends up outpacing people who had every advantage but lacked his grit. This kind of man has seen what desperation does, and that's why he never wastes energy on panic. He stays calm when others lose it, and that calm turns into control. The world rewards people who don't fold under pressure, and he's mastered that art. His street-smart mind knows how to flip disadvantages into leverage. If doors are closed, he doesn't beg to be let in. He builds his own entrance. He also understands that having nothing builds a kind of hunger money can't buy. It gives him emotional stamina, the ability to keep going when others would have quit long ago. People wonder how he makes impossible things look simple. The truth is, he's been trained by scarcity to think beyond resources and rely on raw intelligence. He doesn't just survive, he builds from the dust. In a world obsessed with excess, the street-smart Sigma male thrives because he knows abundance is an illusion. What matters is the ability to create, and that's something no amount of money or privilege can teach. He's proof that when life gives you almost nothing, it might actually be giving you everything you need to become unstoppable. Number 3. He understands loyalty as a currency, not a promise. A street-smart Sigma male has learned that loyalty isn't something you talk about. It's something you prove under pressure. He's seen people swear loyalty in calm times and disappear the moment things get hard. So, he stopped taking words seriously. To him, loyalty is a currency, valuable, rare, and only trusted after it's been tested. He doesn't expect it freely, and he doesn't give it easily. But once it's earned, it becomes unshakable. He knows that most people are loyal to convenience, not to principle. They'll stand by you as long as it benefits them. The Sigma male doesn't judge this harshly. He just calculates it. He observes who's consistent when things go wrong, who shows up when there's nothing to gain, and who remains silent when betrayal would have been easier. That's how he measures people, not by their words, but by their endurance. Because of this, his circle is small, sometimes almost invisible, but it's real. He'd rather have one loyal person than 10 pretenders. His loyalty, when he gives it, is fierce but quiet. It doesn't need display or drama. He supports in shadows, protects without announcement, and cuts ties without explanation when betrayal appears. There's no anger, just closure. Once trust breaks, he doesn't rebuild, he replaces. This cold precision comes from experience. He's seen how loyalty can be weaponized, used to guilt or control others. That's why he treats it as a business of energy, not emotion. He invests it where it multiplies, not where it drains him. When someone proves they're loyal through action, he rewards them with the same intensity. But if someone plays with it, they lose access permanently. No confrontation. No second chance. To him, loyalty isn't about being bound, it's about being aligned. It's mutual respect between people who understand value without needing to say it. That's why his loyalty is both his softest spot and his hardest weapon. He gives it with precision, guards it with silence, and never wastes it on people who treat it like a favor instead of an honor. Number 4. He plays dumb to observe the smart. A street-smart Sigma male has mastered the art of strategic invisibility. He knows the moment people think he's harmless, they start revealing everything they should have kept hidden. So he plays along, quiet, unbothered, maybe even a little lost, while his mind is busy dissecting everyone's motives like a surgeon. He understands that silence pulls out truth faster than interrogation ever could. When others drop their guard, that's when he learns the most. He doesn't crave attention or validation, he craves information. The loud ones in the room are busy proving how clever they are, while he's busy learning how they operate. That's his edge. He can sit in a group and make people believe he's just another face, but he's memorizing their power plays, their insecurities, their tells. By the time they realize he's been paying attention, it's too late. He already knows how to handle, outmaneuver, or expose them if needed. He's not fake, he's strategic. Pretending to be less aware gives him a kind of X-ray vision into people's egos. Everyone wants to feel smarter than someone else, so they underestimate him willingly. They teach him how they think, how they lie, how they manipulate, all while believing they're the ones in control. He turns their arrogance into his data. The funny part is, he doesn't even enjoy deceiving people. He just knows that when you reveal your intelligence too early, you stop learning. Real power grows in observation, not performance. So he keeps his cards close, lets others talk themselves into corners, and moves only when he's certain. By then, he's not reacting. He's executing a plan he built in silence. That's why a street-smart Sigma rarely loses. He wins without noise, without confrontation, and often without anyone realizing he was even playing. To underestimate him is to hand him control, and by the time you notice, he's already won the game you didn't know he was studying. Number 5. He thinks in chaos, not in order. A street-smart Sigma male doesn't need calm to think clearly. He thinks best when things are falling apart. Where most people freeze, he sharpens. The street trained his mind to see chaos not as a threat, but as a field of opportunities hidden under pressure. He knows that when order collapses, people reveal who they truly are. The confident become confused, and the quiet ones rise. That's where he thrives. His brain isn't wired for predictable patterns, it's wired for sudden shifts. He's learned that the world doesn't move in straight lines. It twists, breaks, and rebuilds itself every day. So instead of panicking when plans fail, he adapts instantly. He doesn't cling to how things should be. He focuses on what's happening right now and how to turn it in his favor. That mindset makes him faster than those who rely on stability. In chaos, he's calm because he's seen worse. Noise doesn't distract him, it informs him. Every bit of confusion gives him data others miss. When people lose control, he studies who's leading, who's panicking, and who's pretending. He knows chaos isn't random. It's just unfamiliar to those who've never had to survive it. To him, it's just another pattern waiting to be decoded. This is why structure can sometimes slow him down. Too much order makes him restless, because it limits his creativity. He operates better when he has to improvise, when instincts take over and logic must move at the speed of reality. The street taught him that certainty is a luxury, awareness is survival, and awareness doesn't need a schedule. That's the real reason he stays composed when others are falling apart. He doesn't fear chaos, he's fluent in it. It's his native environment, the place where he sees most clearly and moves most efficiently. To the outside world, he looks calm under pressure. But the truth is simpler. He isn't surviving the storm. He is the storm, moving with purpose while everyone else runs for cover. Number 6. He reads energy faster than words. A street-smart Sigma male doesn't rely on what people say. He listens to what their energy reveals. He's trained to pick up on the micro-signals that most overlook, the slight hesitation before a word, the shift in tone, the sudden drop in eye contact. To him, these aren't coincidences, they're confessions. He can feel when someone's energy doesn't match their words, and that's all the information he needs to know who's real and who's pretending. This ability isn't some mystical intuition. It's survival intelligence, refined through experience. The street taught him early that words are cheap, but energy never lies. He's watched people talk about loyalty while plotting betrayal, and he's learned to spot that tension. The subtle nervousness behind smiles, the false warmth in flattery. His instincts have been tested in real situations where reading a room correctly could mean the difference between gain and loss, safety or danger. He reads people the way others read text. He knows when someone's confidence is real and when it's a mask. He can detect hunger disguised as kindness and fear hidden under arrogance, because he doesn't just observe, he absorbs. He senses the emotional temperature of any space he walks into. Before anyone speaks, he already knows who's in control, who's pretending to be, and who's desperate to be noticed. That's why manipulation rarely works on him. You can't deceive someone who listens beyond language. He can tell when your energy shifts even before your face does. People often underestimate how deeply he notices, until he withdraws without warning. When he goes quiet, it's because he's already seen too much. In a world addicted to noise, his silence is his advantage. While others get distracted by words and appearances, he reads the unseen currents: tension, intent, and emotion. That's how he stays 3 steps ahead without ever raising his voice. He doesn't just read the room, he feels it, and by the time others figure out what's going on, he's already acting on information they didn't even know was there. Number 7. He understands that power is never announced, it's felt. A street-smart Sigma. Male doesn't need to prove he has power. His presence does it for him. He's learned that the loudest person in the room usually has the least control. True power, he knows, is quiet. It moves through influence, not noise. The people who actually run things don't need to announce their authority. They design the environment so that others naturally defer to them without understanding why. That's the level he operates on. He doesn't flex status or demand respect, because he knows that both, when genuine, are automatic. His power lies in the way people instinctively adjust themselves around him. They lower their tone, choose their words carefully, and seek his approval without him ever asking for it. He never competes for attention, because competition itself exposes insecurity. His stillness, his calm, his command of self, that's what unnerves people who rely on performance to feel powerful. This understanding comes from experience. The street showed him that the ones who brag the most are usually the ones who fall first. Power that must be announced is fragile. It depends on validation. But silent power is self-sustaining. It's rooted in awareness, timing, and psychological dominance. He doesn't need to threaten. He simply understands what people want and uses that to steer outcomes. The result is obedience disguised as cooperation. He knows the difference between influence and intimidation. One fades, the other multiplies. Instead of forcing control, he builds it quietly through respect, consistency, and restraint. People trust him because he never overplays his hand, and that's exactly why he always wins. For the street-smart Sigma, power isn't about being on top, it's about being untouchable. He's not interested in being seen as dominant, he's interested in being effective, and that's why his presence commands the kind of silent authority that words could never match. You don't hear his power, you feel it, and by the time you notice, it's already shaped the entire room around him. Number 8. He's comfortable with moral gray zones. A street-smart Sigma male doesn't live by black and white ideals, he lives by results. He's seen enough of life to know that right and wrong often depend on where you're standing and who's telling the story. While others waste time debating what's morally acceptable, he's already done what's necessary to survive or succeed. The street didn't shape him through philosophy. It shaped him through consequences. Every decision he's made has carried a cost, and that's why he doesn't act from emotion. He acts from awareness. He's learned that purity is a luxury only the protected can afford. In the real world, tough choices rarely come with clean options. Sometimes doing the right thing leaves you powerless, and sometimes doing the wrong thing saves lives, or at least your sanity. He doesn't justify his actions with fake righteousness. He simply accepts the price of every move he makes. That's what gives his decisions such sharp precision. He never lies to himself about outcomes. Because he's lived through moral conflict, He doesn't judge people too quickly. He understands how pressure, fear, and desperation twist even good intentions. This makes him dangerous to manipulators. He can't be guilt-tripped or shamed into compliance. He's already made peace with his darker sides, so no one can use them against him. That's real freedom. Not pretending to be pure, but mastering your shadows instead of being ruled by them. His moral compass doesn't spin wildly. It's just calibrated differently. He doesn't ask, "Is this right?" He asks, "Will this work, and what will it cost?" That mindset might scare idealists, but it's the reason he stays grounded when others crumble under moral pressure. For him, ethics are situational, but integrity is constant. He won't betray his code, but he'll bend society's rules if survival or purpose demands it. That's why he wins where others hesitate. He doesn't need the world's approval to act. He just needs the outcome to make sense and the discipline to live with whatever comes next. Number 9. He decodes human desperation instantly. A street-smart Sigma male can read desperation the way a hunter reads tracks, by instinct, not theory. He's been in situations where survival depended on noticing who was about to turn, lie, or run. That kind of awareness doesn't come from books. It comes from scars. He knows the trembling tone behind forced calm, the over-eager smile that hides fear, and the restless eyes of someone already plotting their exit. To him, desperation has a scent, a rhythm, a vibration, and once he feels it, he never ignores it. He's lived through moments where trust could cost him. That's why he's learned to separate genuine struggle from manipulative helplessness. Some people act desperate to gain sympathy, others to gain control. He's seen both. The street taught him that not everyone who cries for help wants saving. Some just want a shortcut. So, he doesn't rush to rescue or react emotionally. He studies intent before involvement. That calm detachment is what protects him from emotional traps disguised as crises. Because he's faced real desperation himself, he recognizes the difference between survival and performance. True desperation is silent. It moves in subtle choices and eyes that have accepted loss. Fake desperation is loud, demanding, and theatrical. He spots the difference instantly. When people try to manipulate him through pity or panic, he stays composed, watching them expose their motives through inconsistency. This ability gives him an edge in every human interaction, business, relationships, or conflict. He can tell who's bluffing, who's genuine, and who's about to break under pressure. And that awareness makes him nearly impossible to play. You can't fool someone who already knows the language of fear. For him, desperation isn't just a weakness, it's a signal. It reveals how far someone's willing to go and what they're truly hiding. And because he's survived his own desperate seasons, he never underestimates it. He respects it, studies it, and uses it as a guide. While others see chaos in people's breakdowns, he sees patterns, and that's why he stays 2 moves ahead when everyone else starts to crack. Number 10. He doesn't waste time. Explaining his worth. A street-smart Sigma male learned early that explaining yourself is a trap. The moment you start defending your worth, you've already handed someone the power to question it. He doesn't play that game. He doesn't talk about what he can do. He does it, and lets the results speak louder than any argument ever could. Words are cheap in his world. Outcomes are the only real currency. He's seen how most people burn energy trying to be understood, validated, or respected. But he knows respect earned through explanation never lasts. It fades the moment you stop talking. So instead of convincing others, he focuses on action. When he moves, people notice. When he builds, people ask how. That's his language, execution, not persuasion. He'd rather be underestimated in silence than overhyped in conversation. He understands that arguing for approval is emotional debt. Every time you try to prove your value, You owe more of yourself to the opinions of others. That's weakness to him. He's not here to be liked or labeled. He's here to produce. Those who recognize his worth don't need an explanation. They see it. Those who don't aren't his audience. Either way, he loses nothing. This calm confidence often unsettles people who depend on external validation. They mistake his silence for arrogance, but it's actually self-control. He doesn't need to dominate discussions because his work already dominates attention. The street taught him that talkers attract applause, doers attract results. He chose the second, and when he's tested, he never reacts emotionally. He knows time will reveal what words can't. People who doubted him always end up referencing him later, quietly. That's his version of victory, not proving himself in the moment, but letting results echo long after the noise dies down. For him, silence isn't weakness, it's precision. He doesn't need to explain his worth because he embodies it. While others perform competence, he simply demonstrates it. And that's why he always ends up running circles around those still busy explaining why they belong. Number 11. He's seen the dark side of humanity and stopped romanticizing it. A street-smart Sigma male doesn't live under illusions about human nature. He's seen what people become when survival instincts take over, how easily kindness turns to calculation, and how loyalty disappears when convenience ends. That exposure stripped him of naivety. He doesn't hate people for it, but he no longer romanticizes them either. He understands that everyone has a breaking point, and that under pressure even the most moral can turn ruthless. That truth doesn't make him bitter. It makes him realistic. He's lived through enough to know that good intentions don't guarantee good actions. Some smile to hide envy, some help to feel superior, and some love only when it benefits them. This awareness gives him emotional armor. He doesn't expect purity, so betrayal never shocks him. Disappointment doesn't crush him because he stopped expecting the world to act fair. He takes people as they are, not as they pretend to be. That's why pity doesn't cloud his judgment. He can empathize deeply yet remain detached enough to protect his peace. He's not heartless, he's just disciplined. When someone tries to manipulate him with guilt or tears, he reads their motives first. He's seen too many victims turn into villains the moment they regain power. So he offers understanding, not blind trust. Idealism, to him, is a luxury of those who haven't faced real darkness. The street taught him that people can be kind and cruel in the same breath, and both sides are equally real. Instead of resenting this, he accepts it. That acceptance gives him clarity that most people lack. He doesn't expect everyone to be honest or loyal. He simply observes patterns and adjusts. His realism is what makes him unshakable. He doesn't get fooled by flattery, fooled by appearances, or broken by deceit. Once you've seen what people are capable of when masks fall, you stop chasing perfect souls and start valuing consistent ones. That's the Sigma's quiet wisdom. He no longer needs the world to be pure to function in it. He just needs to understand it well enough to never be blindsided again. Number 12. He anticipates moves like a chess player in a bar fight. A street-smart Sigma male doesn't just react to life, he reads it in real time. His mind is wired for prediction. He doesn't wait for things to happen. He sees the signs before they unfold. That's because experience taught him that every word, gesture, and silence reveals something about the next move. Whether it's a tense argument, a negotiation, or a heated confrontation, he's already mapping out how each person will act before they even know it themselves. He operates with the same precision as a chess player, but in the chaos of real life, not a calm board. The street trained him to calculate outcomes under pressure. While others get emotional or distracted, he stays detached and strategic. He watches body language, tone shifts, breathing patterns, and subtle energy changes. Nothing slips by him. By the time someone makes their move, he's already adjusted his position. That's why he rarely gets caught off guard. Not because he's lucky, but because he's prepared. He knows that people reveal their intent long before they act. The eyes give it away, the posture confirms it, and the timing seals it. He's studied enough human behavior to know that even impulse has a rhythm. So when tension builds, he's calm. He knows what's coming. Not because he's psychic, but because he's paying attention while others are reacting. In negotiation, this foresight becomes his secret weapon. He senses when someone's bluffing, when they're desperate, and when they're about to fold. He can feel the emotional pulse of the room and adjust his delivery to control outcomes without appearing forceful. That's how he turns chaos into control, by predicting, not reacting. This ability makes him dangerous in any environment. People can't manipulate someone who already knows their next 3 moves. He may look relaxed, but his mind is constantly calculating possibilities, exits, and leverage points. That's why he never panics when chaos hits. His calm isn't confidence, it's preparation. In a world full of reactors, he's the rare man who's always thinking several moves. Conclusion. The street-smart Sigma male isn't just another archetype. He's evolution refined through chaos. He's the kind of man the world can't predict because he's learned to think where others panic, adapt where others freeze, and thrive where others fail. His strength doesn't come from privilege or perfection. It comes from surviving situations that would have broken most people. He's built his instincts from scars, his discipline from failure, and his confidence from mastering the silence that others run from. He doesn't need to shout his wisdom or wear his power like a badge. Everything about him, from his composure to his precision, speaks for itself. The world often misunderstands him because he doesn't fit into its expectations. But that's his secret advantage. He's not trying to belong. He's building something beyond belonging, a life on his own terms. And while others chase acceptance, he chases understanding of people, of systems, of himself. The beauty of a street-smart Sigma male is that he never stops learning. Every betrayal teaches him how to trust smarter. Every loss shows him how to rebuild stronger. Every chaos reminds him that peace isn't something you find, it's something you create inside yourself. He's proof that survival, when combined with awareness, turns into mastery. So when the world tries to control him, he smiles, because control only works on those who need guidance, not on those who've already walked through their own fire and learned how to rebuild from the ashes. The Sigma male doesn't just survive chaos, he becomes fluent in it, and that fluency makes him unstoppable. If you've made it this far, you're not here by accident. You're drawn to understanding the kind of strength that doesn't need validation. So, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with others who think differently. Leave a comment down below and tell us which trait resonated most with you. Your voice adds power to this community of quiet thinkers and silent builders. Stay sharp, stay aware, and remember, real power doesn't announce itself. It's felt